Alright, so with these 4 problems, we have way more factoring than the law allows. So let's try to get through them fast. We have 2 terms. We have this term and we have this term. And they're both squared, so we know they're perfect squares. And we're subtracting them. Well, you know that when you subtract 2 perfect squares, it is a difference of squares. So what that means is we can factor this with 2 groupings. A difference of squares has 1 positive inside the parentheses and 1 negative. And what is the square root of a plus 2b squared? Well, it's just a plus 2b. So that goes inside both of those. What is the square root of 2b plus c? Well, the square root of 2b plus c is 2b plus c squared. 2b plus c and 2b plus c. Well, at this point, we need to simplify. We have a positive, so when you multiply a positive times anything, it's just a positive 1. Just get the other thing. So over here we get a plus 2b plus 2b plus c. Over here, well, a negative times positive 2b is negative 2b. A negative times positive c is negative c. And then we have a plus 2b minus 2b minus c. Well, I have b's, right? These are similar terms, so I can combine them. So I have a plus 4b plus c times, oh my goodness, look at that. We can combine these. So we have a minus c, because these 2 cancel out. And that's it. For problem 45, we have the added factoring fun bonus of not having an already group for us. Well, I'm looking at this thing, I see this minus b squared. That's a little different than everything else. So I'm willing to bet that if I group things here, it's going to work out for me. So we need to factor a squared plus 4a plus 4. Seems like they all have something similar together, right? So I'm going to say, well, that factors to what times what is positive 4. That adds to positive 4. Well, 2, right? 2 times 2 is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. So we have a plus 2 squared minus b squared. Would you believe we have another difference of squares? So we have our brackets again. And and we have a plus. Try that again. I really want to get that thing out of there. Okay, so we know we have a, of course now it doesn't work. We have a plus, we have a minus. So what is the square root of a plus 2 squared? Well, it's just a plus 2 plus, what is the square root of b squared? b. On the other one, we have a plus 2 and b. Now, can I combine any of these terms? No. So there's my answer. I'm done. 47, we have another bunch of grouping to do. And again, the u squared is all by itself, right? So it doesn't really connect with anything else in this problem. So that tells me that the u squared is going to be by itself. And I'm going to want to group this together. Now that the v squared has the negative attached to it. I can't just lop it off because it's convenient for me. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to factor out a negative. I will factor out a negative 1 from all of them. And so I get u minus v squared minus 2v plus 1. Well, what times what is 1, but adds to get negative 2? Well, negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Negative 1 times, plus negative 1 is 0, or sorry, it's negative 2. So we have u squared minus, oh, and since it's negative 1, because this thing factors to v minus 1 times v minus 1. Well, an easier way of saying that is v minus 1 squared. I didn't say that for this one, but same deal. So I have v minus 1 squared. This is a perfect square term. That is a perfect square term. That tells me I need to factor it as a difference of squares. Yippee! So, again, I will have my brackets. So we have u and if we'll, since it's a different squares, we'll have a plus, and we'll have the u minus, and then what's in the parentheses? V minus 1. V minus 1. But wait a second, since I have this negative sign right here, that means I need to distribute it, right? So when I distribute it, I'm going to get, in the first term, u plus v minus 1, there's my first term, times my second term, u, negative 1 times v is negative v, negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. And there's my answer. Number 49. Now number 49 is very similar to the other ones. The only catch is it's now reordered, and I need to figure out things that go together. So I see this, I see an h squared, I see an h and a plain number, but then I have this funky thing left over, right? So that is a clue to me that I need to reorder this. Let's try this. H squared minus 4h plus 4, and now I'm going to take this piece and send it to the back. Well, since that negative 4k is different, we're going to want it to be by itself. It's on timeout. And so now, what's that factor to? Well, we've done a ton of these, right? And we know now that's going to be h minus 2 squared minus 4k squared. Difference of squares, that's right. So I have a plus and a minus, 2k and 2k, and then I just have my h minus 2, h plus 2, and there's nothing that I can bind, so I'm good.
Hello.
Hey, buddy. Can you go out and get your football and then come right back, please? And then we're going to... where's your sister?
No clue. Fantastic.
Well, I'm in the middle of making this video, so can you go get your football and your sister?
Hurrah, hurrah.
And then we'll go watch the basketball game.
Basketball game?
But you have to hurry. Bring your sister back here and your football. All right, so the same thing's going to happen here. This negative q squared is kind of all by itself. And I know this because this has a p and an r, right? So really, I want to put it in timeout in the back, right? So we have p squared minus 2 pr plus r squared minus my timeout troublemaker. And, well, you know, negative 1 times negative r times negative r is positive r squared, but negative r plus negative r is negative 2. So there we go again, difference of squares. At this point, you should see where this goes. I'm not going to finish it. And then the final one, well, I'll just give you the answer. It's p minus r plus q times p, that's a p. How's that? Minus r minus q. And for my last piece of math magics, I see this xz here, right? That tells me the x squared and the 4z squared go together, and the negative 4y is on timeout in the back. So I have x squared plus 4xz plus 4z squared minus my troublemaker. Yes, that gets grouped together. Hey, pretty. And this factors to x plus 2z squared minus 4y squared. And so then my factored form answer is going to be x plus 2z plus the square root of this thing here. Of course, you can't see it because I wrote it in white. 2y times x plus 2z minus 2y. And since none of the terms are similar, we cannot combine them. So, we are done.